Hello, 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 wherever you are in the world. This is Colt Mahay from Ignite Your Inner Potential. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good week and that you're staying well and that your loved ones are also keeping well amid this crisis that's sweeping not just the country but the world with COVID-19 coronavirus. And of course, just in the last few hours within the UK, more draconian measures have been put in place by the government to protect our communities. This morning I was in a university delivering some training for their staff, a training course that I designed and delivered for their staff. And we were just into module 1 and this was day 2. And I was aware that lots of conversations were being had in that university about how they were going to try and meet the welfare needs of their students and their staff. And eventually a decision was taken today that all training would be cancelled. So I had to think on my feet and immediately go online with the training that I was delivering. And luckily I had built in those contingencies anyway. So everything was sent online to the delegates who were attending. So they've had minimal impact on them. But in these unprecedented times, the government is now telling us that wherever possible, don't go into crowded places, wherever possible, stay at home. If you can afford to do that, if your organizations and your businesses can afford to do that, then do exactly that. Stay at home and try and maintain and minimize the risk of this coronavirus spreading across the UK. And I know that as a consequence of that, while ever that's a great measure, there's a consequence to that as well. There's a consequence of, when you are alone, that, we're not used to spending so much time with our loved ones, and a lot of friction can occur, just like we see on Christmas days on so many occasions, so many years. We also see people who are particularly lonely and vulnerable, living by themselves, and they get to see nobody else. And for an extended, enforced period of time when they're living by themselves, that can also be extremely challenging, and it will be for so many people. So we can still reach out to these people, we can still pick up the phone, we can still have video conferences and just let them know that we care. This will also impact on those people who are on 0 hours contracts, or those people who are running their own small businesses, and by not being at home, there will be an impact on these people that they won't be able to earn money. So that's going to create some difficulties in its own right. We've seen the impact so far on people, and it's blown my mind. I, as you know, rarely watch the news, but even over the last couple of days I've tried to keep on top of what's going on and the state of the nation and the global thinking. I've even ventured out into a couple of supermarkets to see what is going on in supermarkets after hearing all the things that I'd heard. And I saw empty shelves, I saw toilet rolls run out and bleach run out. And I just think that's very, very sad, because when we're doing that from this panic mindset, we lose all sense of rationality. We lose all sense of logic. We get into this whole concept of panic, and we do things that we wouldn't ordinarily do. And we don't even think through the consequences of our actions. Sometimes we, if we were to be in a rational mindset, we'd realize that if I take all the toilet roll, that means those people who are perhaps more vulnerable than me won't get access to that. If I take all the bleach, they won't get access to that. And by doing this, sometimes we can exacerbate the problem. We can actually make the problem worse by not thinking in a wider context. So wherever possible, we need to come out of this panic mindset and start thinking spatially again, and start having what I call consequential thinking through what the consequences of our actions might be. So, I didn't immediately rush to start working from home when everything came out. I wanted to think it through. I wanted to prepare for it. I wanted to make sure that I could still deliver my services for my clients. And today is the day that I made that final decision that from here on in, for the foreseeable future, certainly, I'm going to be working from home, and I'll still be able to serve my clients. Have you got those contingency plans yourself? This is, for me, a basic tenet of leadership. That we need to have contingency plans, business continuity plans, life continuity plans. But whatever it is that you're doing, if you are a teacher or member of the health service or member of the public sector, then I take my hat off to you. I know how difficult it is to work in the public sector. And at this moment in time, those areas of the public service that will be affected predominantly will be in the health sector. And thank you so much for anybody who works in the health service or in the health sector for everything that you're doing for the nation. But do look after yourselves as well. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are not looking after you, if you're not practicing self-care, then you can't possibly look after anybody else. And similarly, if you are caring for elderly people or vulnerable people, make sure that you're looking after yourself as well, because you do not want to be carrying anything home and affecting those vulnerable people that you love and care for. So guys, what I'm going to do from here on in is, now that I am working from home for the foreseeable future, I am going to be doing daily Facebook Lives at least once a day to keep people, to pass on any messages that I want to pass on. I'm going to keep my ear to the ground. I'm going to be speaking to people all the time. Leaders within the health service and leaders within the health sector, leaders who have got contingency plans themselves, who have thought this through and they've come up with strategies, and I'm going to be sharing these with everybody so that everyone can benefit. I'll also be looking for stories from people who have got some kind of a plan to cope with this unreal environment in which we're now placing ourselves, where we're spending extended periods of time with people in our homes, people who perhaps we're just hanging out with, but we're now enforced to spend extended periods of time with them. And that's how relationships are. If your relationship is fragile, that's how relationships can break down and can lead to some problems going forward. And also I'm going to be talking to people around the whole panic mindset and the impact that this can have on society. So I'm going to be talking to people from the local authorities. I'm going to be talking to maybe even police officers and the impact that panic mindset can have on law and order, and all the steps that we can take to keep ourselves safe, to keep ourselves happy, to keep ourselves fulfilled, and to ride this storm and with the positive, powerful mindset that we all have available to us. But you know what? There is so much going on in the media right now that is creating more and more panic. And I think keeping a level head is so critically important at this moment in time. So guys, think through widely. Have a wider perspective on what's going on. Don't get sucked up into the whole panic of what's going on in the world right now. Keep a level head. Think through the consequences of our actions. We're all taking daily actions every single day. Some of those are conscious actions, and some of those actions that we're taking are subconscious actions. Keep in mind that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you are going into supermarkets and you are hoarding the hand gels, the sanitizers, the bleach, the toilet paper. I even went shopping for our kittens today and I found that there was no food left for kittens. People are hoarding this kind of stuff as well. So just think through the consequences of that. Do you really need that much? It's not as if we're in a nuclear situation where we're going to be, bunkered up for months and months and months. The shops are still open. The world still operates. I've just been listening to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who's releasing £330 billion in support for businesses and for those people who are off work. I think that's an incredible thing to do. So the world and the country will still move forward. All governments across the world are putting in some measures to make sure that the economy of their country is sustainable, that people's lives can be maintained and sustained. So let's not get into a whole panic about everything. Look after yourselves, however. Take the advice of the scientific advice. Separate yourselves from people wherever possible. If you've got any kind of symptoms, like a mild cough even, or a fever, then remember, it may not be COVID-19, but it may be something else, and that will make somebody else even more vulnerable if they were to get that. So guys, that's my message from me to you. I know I've been quiet on Facebook over the last week or so, but that's because I've been very, very busy doing what I'm doing and tidying up loose ends in order for today, where I finally, not so much shut up shop, but go from being offline to online now. So you'll see me a lot more online, and I will be doing daily Facebook Lives. In the meantime, all I want to say to you is God bless you. Hope you keep well, look after yourselves, and stay happy, stay positive. If ever there was a time in your lives, in your recent years, that you needed to stay positive, it's right now. And look after each other. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.